So we have currently 340 prisoners that have applied to be on our list and have all been vetted as nonviolent cannabis prisoners.
And these people are in prison right now?
Currently in prison, right? And we just barely scratched the surface because there's over 3,000 prisoners just in federal prison. And overall, there's still about 40,000 individuals in jail for cannabis-related crimes. So we serve just 340 incarcerated individuals, and then we serve 280 children of incarcerated individuals through our programs as well.
As we are back at Hall of Flowers with another wonderful episode of Mita Unshackled, in partnership with Beer Bros and GLG. Again, thank you for Hall of Flowers for having the Edwin Rubis Stage, highlighting criminal justice reform, criminal injustice issues, and everything else that's happened in the cannabis industry for 50, 60 years. It's such an important topic. It often gets neglected as we have all the brands and all the people in the industry so happily making money and participating in industry. There's people that are still sitting in jail. So we are focusing on that at the stage, at the entrance, which is just, it's right in the right position. So again, shout out to Hall of Flowers for making this happen. And we are thrilled to introduce to our audience an individual representing an unbelievable organization, Freedom Grow. So we're going to learn about Freedom Grow. Let me introduce the co-host, the co-interrogator. I'm going to use the word interrogator because we're talking about criminal justice.
Wait, who's the good cop? Who's the bad cop?
Oh, I like you. You're rolling with the metaphor. Yeah, I'll be you choose.
I guess I'll be the bad cop.
You'll be the bad cop? Okay, I'll be the good cop. Oh, we love your organization. There's nothing wrong with it. Now you say, what's wrong with you? I'm just kidding. So who wants to go? Why don't you introduce yourself first?
Oh, I'm Rachel Wright. I'm here with Beard Bros Media and also 420 CPA. So we're here to interrogate and, well, actually, no, we're here to support because you guys have had enough interrogations and things like that. So we're here to support for sure, 100%.
Yes, and you have nothing to hide.
Yep.
You have a fantastic organization. You work for a fantastic organization.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, and just do 30 seconds, and then let's move into Freedom Grow.
Well, I'm Christy Kem. I'm the CFO of Freedom.
Put your mic a little closer.
Yeah, I'm Christy Kem. I'm the CFO of Freedom Grow, and I'm also with Dope CFO Certified Advisors. I've been with Freedom Grow since 2021 when I started as a volunteer. We're happily an all-volunteer organization. It lets us put the maximum amount of dollars back towards the prisoners' outreach and right back on their books to commissary and everything else that we do. So that's a little bit about me.
So where did Freedom Grow, how did it start?
Yeah, Freedom Grow is the brainchild of our amazing founder, Stephanie Landa. She was a prisoner with cannabis crime as well. So she spent 9 years in prison herself. She got out and knew she needed to help other prisoners. So she just was out there on the streets asking for money, getting donations for the books. And after a few years, in 2015, she started up Freedom Grow right here in the Bay Area in California, in Novato, California, and it's been going strong ever since.
What was she in prison for?
For weed, for being a mom who liked weed.
Do you remember like her charges or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
well, it was possession and with intent to distribute, as most of those are. So people, usually they get caught with weed and then, it's in a baggie. So therefore you must be selling weed, right?
So you guys, I noticed before we got up here, you have a sheet of like 300 some odd individuals that you guys are working with or have helped?
Yeah, so we have currently 340 prisoners that have applied to be on our list and have all been vetted as nonviolent cannabis prisoners.
And these people are in prison right now?
Currently in prison, right? And we just barely scratched the surface because there's over 3,000 prisoners just in federal prison. And overall, there's still about 40,000 individuals in jail for cannabis-related crimes. So we serve just 340 incarcerated individuals, and then we serve 280 children of incarcerated individuals through our programs as well.
And across the United States as well?
All across the United States. Okay. And we actually have a prisoner in Russia right now.
Wow.
Rachel, you want to get a little closer here so we can make sure that everybody hears you?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
So yeah, officially now international, right? Because we're serving that Russian prisoner.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, tell us about that. That's really interesting. Are they a U.S. citizen or?
Yes. So, and I'm going to totally botch this guy, so I'm really sorry, but he is a citizen of Pennsylvania, is where he was born and raised, and he was in Russia. So he's currently being detained in Russia. And so we actually have an upcoming event at the Pennsylvania Cannabis Festival where every single ticket $1 will contribute towards Freedom Grow, and half of that at the request of the individuals organizing the event, because it is the Pennsylvania Freedom Festival. They will be sending half that money to help with his defense over in Russia.
Are they like waterboarding him over there, or no, hopefully
Oh my
not?
gosh! Hopefully it's not too crazy.
That's what USA does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Though, I feel like if we can get Brittany Grimer home, we can get him home as well, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So, what you guys now? I'm putting to the side the question is I'm wondering what, once they get released, if you guys still work with them. Let me just ask that question. Once they get released, do you guys still help them reintegrate into society?
Yes. So when funds allow, we do reentry grants for people, and then if we hear about a job in their area that we know of and they're wanting to get back in the industry, we try to connect them with people as well. But we definitely stay in contact with our prisoners, right? We love them. We want to support them. It's not just like, oh, you got out of prison, everything's great. We really keep up with them and see how things are going and try to help them the best we can. One of the prisoners that got out recently was Travis Cullen. Right, he served 9 years in prison, and when he got out, he became a superstar advocate, and he actually wrapped his entire van in messaging and drives it all over the country and is going back to DC. And so we keep up with Travis and see what he's doing and supporting his causes as well. And another success story that we have is Luke Scarmazzo, right? So Luke spent 16 years in prison of a 22-year sentence for operating a legal cannabis dispensary here in California. And when he got out of prison last year in February, he went right back to work with his business partner and launched Profit Brands. And they're actually exhibiting here today at Hall of Flowers, right? So that is an amazing success story to see how he didn't give up that fight, right? And he could have easily just said, oh, I went to jail for doing this business once and I don't want to do it anymore. And I'm just totally jaded. But instead, he came back out stronger than ever before, and his brand is built around social and restorative justice, right, and giving back to people like himself and like his business partner who have served time behind bars.
I'm glad you said restorative justice, because that's such an important element of this. Decades and decades of misdemeanors and felonies have caused whys in people's lives, and for them to go this direction or that direction because of simple plans, and a lot of that's forgotten. I mean, that's bad. I mean, the fact that Edwin, and we got to get to Edwin's case here in a second, the fact that there's still people incarcerated is just like a horror story. I mean, it almost seems unreal. We're sitting next to one of the biggest cannabis conferences here we're sitting in the middle of it, but and all this activity, and these people are in jail. It's almost absurd. Not to mention we got the restorative justice aspect of it. So there's all these different criminal justice reform things going on, but you guys are doing some good work. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
So what else does Freedom Grow do? You guys do criminal defense work. You put money on their books. You bring attention to their issues.
Yeah, all of that, right? So our main program is our commissary program, where when we send money directly to the prisoners and put it on their books every month. In addition to that, we have a wish program where our prisoners can reach out to us directly by calling us or sending us a Core Links message and asking for things. So if they have a child's birthday coming up, an anniversary, Mother's Day, they can ask for gifts to be sent to their family members to just give a little bit more human connection, right? It's a little bit better than just sending a letter, right? Or maybe a drawing from prison. They can really give them something that they know will mean something to their family member. We do books, we do magazine subscriptions. We do back-to-school gift cards for their children. We do Christmas time gift cards for their kids to help out with the holidays, all of those things. One of our newest things that we've been doing is actually taking place right now at Hall of Flowers. It's the Gratitude Gallery, where our current and former prisoners submit artwork, and then that artwork is then sold, right? So if that prisoner is still incarcerated, 100% of that money goes to their books. And if it's somebody who's donated that's previously incarcerated, they donate those proceeds to the General Commissary Fund to help out their fellow prisoners.
That's awesome. I want to
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, so what is the process for getting them out of jail? What kind of support services are you providing?
Yeah. So because we are really grassroots, our support services really kind of begin and end with the letter writing campaign, right? Is really raising the rally call around the country for everybody to let them know that this is actually still an issue, that we need to be talking to our representatives, that we need to be talking to our regulators, other friends, family members, letting them know this is an issue, and writing letters, right, to the president, asking for clemency, asking for him to pardon these charges, because he does have the power to do that.
That's for Edwin's case, but the 375, are they different states, or these are all federal?
There's a mix of federal and state, but we do the letter writing campaigns for all of them because a lot of them need those letters, right? And so we found that under the last administration, about 18 months out, we started doing a letter writing campaign for 9 individuals, right? When President Trump left office, he pardoned 9 individuals. They were the same 9 individuals that Kristen Flora, our executive director, started those letter writing campaigns for.
Okay, time out here. So we can make a short out of this. How many people right now are in federal custody for nonviolent marijuana things that you have vetted?
Ooh, okay. I'd have to look at my exact numbers, but it's somewhere on our federal list is about, I would say 150 is the split right now.
Okay, and how did you guys vet them?
So when the prisoners actually submit their paperwork to us, they find out about Freedom Grow, because we don't just look up people's stuff. So they let us know, hey, I'm in jail for weed, right? And then we get their case number, we get all their information, and we have a diligent team of volunteers who then combs through their records, finds them, verifies where they're at, that they're actually prisoners, their charges are what they said they are, and all of this stuff. And once we find that they are nonviolent cannabis only prisoners, that's when they can come onto the list.
So you have this data.
Yes.
What is your name?
Christy Kim.
What is your cell phone number?
You can reach me at area code 559-715-2839.
Your real phone number.
That is my real phone number.
555? Okay, so here's the deal.
Oh, you don't get the bat line. You get the work number.
Anyone connected to Joe Biden out there, all you have to do is call her. She will email you over. Yeah. I've seen the sheet. I've seen the files. They have all the information. She will email it over to you. And Joe Biden, I'll be polite, because he's got nothing to lose and nothing to play for. He can do the right thing. 80-90% of America supports marijuana reform. All he has to do is sign those 150. Give me the number.
It's about 150 that we have on our list for federal.
For federal, all he has to do is sign a piece of paper, and those people can be released. He can even have his DOJ attorneys vet the data that the paperwork that you already collected.
That's right.
It's that simple. So if you see this podcast and you're connected to Joe Biden out there, he's going to be president until January 20th. If Kamala Harris wins, she's going to spend 4 years trying to look tough. If Trump wins, nobody knows what's going to happen. But, their best chance, these people's best chance is for Joe Biden to do something now. And all he has to do is give your phone number, your email address. You have the data. You send it over. He sends it to DOJ. It's that simple.
That's right.
Why has it not happened yet?
Honestly, because they don't care. It's not a priority. It's a talking point for them. If they cared, they'd make change. It's as simple as that. It's just there's too many political chips in the air, and they'd rather use a different hand. And this isn't meaningful enough. It doesn't impact them enough, so they don't care.
Well, thank God for Edwin.
Yeah.
And others.
Yeah.
You exist.
And in Edwin's case, right, really the president's action is the only thing that he can, is the only way he can get out of prison, right? He's exhausted all of his appeals, meaning he can no longer go to the courts and ask to get out of prison. So he's been in 27 years of a 40-year sentence. So he's got about 12 and a half years left, right? And so if he wants to come home early, President Biden or the next president are the only options that he has to come home early. And this is a man, right, who had actually stopped participating in the cannabis industry at the time of his conviction. So he wasn't actively participating in any trafficking activities whatsoever. There was no physical evidence to tie him to the case. It was all on the testimony of somebody else who was pleading for a lesser charge themselves, right? So 40 years without evidence.
And when was he convicted, you said?
1997 is when he went into
Wow.
prison. I mean, I was like 9 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's
Right.
completely ridiculous, and he has a mom who's getting older who takes care of his adult son, right? He's worried about her health, the health and safety of his son. And, this is somebody who's productive. And I think that in general, when we talk about cannabis prisoners, we forget that at the heart of what they do, they're entrepreneurs and business people,
That's all they
right?
were.
Right.
So when you are keeping somebody who is entrepreneurial and you're housing them in a cage, not only are you costing us tax dollars to keep them there, but you're also costing the community economic value by keeping them there, and they're not able to produce that economic value for their communities. So it's really a double-ended thing. So when we think about our politicians and where they say that their values lie, right? And they're for small businesses, they're for building communities, they're for keeping families together. I just don't see it in their actions.
Well, I mean, prison is a private industry, right? It's a for-profit industry. So that's one of the biggest problems is I think that it being a for-profit industry is an issue. So people are actually making money off of jailing prisoners.
Absolutely.
And
where
that's what at the heart of that's what needs to be changed is the fact that it's a for-profit industry. So until that changes, I think it's going to be very difficult because there's an incentive to lock people up. It's not just the housing that gets paid for, it's the clothing, it's the food, it's the commissary. There's a huge markup on the commissary. And so if that were to change, then, we have a little bit more of a shot because people are locked up, not adequately represented on a regular basis, and not just for cannabis, for many other crimes. And cannabis, I mean, we can't even imagine that nowadays this is happening. But I think that needs to change too. Attack it at the heart of the problem,
Oh, I absolutely agree. Somebody just came by the Gratitude Gallery, which is going on right now here at Hall of Flowers, and told me that in the state of Arizona, actually, that there is a law or regulation around the capacity of the prisons. And if it falls below a certain rate, that the prisons can actually sue the state of Arizona for not filling enough beds. They have like a minimum bed quota.
Yeah, it's like a contract with the state.
And I thought that's insane. So if you fall below it, of course you're going to start locking more people up and putting, more heads in beds.
Yeah, for sure.
It's weird how that the rubber meets the road on this issue in regards to private prisons. I've dealt with it a little bit, and it's not so much that there's like a meeting of the minds with prosecutors and police officers and people who are within the system, but there is the lobbyists who represent the prison industry who, when they see a bill that will negatively impact the numbers of individuals that are incarcerated or decrease criminal sanctions versus civil sanctions, they will gently tell the politician that they know, Republican or Democrat, say, hey, SB 2306, vote no. That politician knows very little about the bill.
Right.
And says, okay, well, that person who gives me $5,000 for my campaign every year is telling me to vote no. He just votes no. And maybe there's an organization or an advocate that says something, but usually not.
Right.
Usually not. And that's how the whole thing happens. And then everybody just goes on about their business. There's more criminal sanctions. There's more reasons for police officers to pull people over, put them in jail. There's more prosecutors have minimum sentence guidelines. Judges have minimum sentence. And the show goes on. And that's where these lobbyists are like cockroaches, crawling the capitals, the state capitals, buying and selling public policy. Well, I got my raw social justice club here going on. We're gonna call Josh and say, Josh, we know it's a nice, pre-roll of the stuff. It's a nice joint, but he needs to give us a raw social justice club. Right?
Make it into a club.
That's not like feeling like it's a club here. Anyway, sorry about that. But that's where the road meets the road.
Yeah.
So what can people do to help Edwin right now?
Well, they can go to freedomgrow.org and they can sign electronically a letter to President Joe Biden, right? It'll look just like this.
Rachel, have you signed it? We're going to get you signed right now.
I have.
She has signed this. Yeah, so this is actually asking for clemency on Edwin's behalf, right? And so all of these letters get sent in. And this is so important. Like I said earlier, it really does make a difference because every single letter that we send, whether it's electronic or a physical one, it has to be enumerated by the office that we send it to and actually show them like, hey, people are concerned about this, right? So the more letters, the more phone calls, the more really that we just bug everybody about this, the more that they're going to pay attention to it.
Yeah, you have to make them want to pay attention to it.
Yes.
That's what I found with any kind of change, is you have to make it important to them. You have to be loud enough to get up to the top of their list or at least on the list, you know.
Exactly. So from now until President Biden leaves office, Freedom Grow, along with Beer Bros, are going to be calling to action the cannabis industry, saying stand behind Edwin Rubis and all of our other plant prisoners, right? And use our voice because let's be honest, we're making money in an industry while they're locked up in a cage for the same industry.
Right.
Yes.
And so we owe it to them, right, to be their mouthpieces.
Right.
And, you know, I'll be blunt here. If you're in cannabis and you're not willing to take a minute to call your representative or take 30 seconds to come sign one of these letters, don't call me. Please don't try to do business with me. You're not the people I want in my industry, you know, quite frankly, because what they did is took a bullet for us. And we really need to pay it forward because none of us would be here without the work that they did. Right.
100%.
And last night, you know, I was at a kickoff party and I just thought to myself, how many people in this room could have easily been on the other side of those bars if just something small had gone differently? Because most of us are in this industry because we had a history with cannabis before it was legal.
Right.
Right. In one way, shape, or form. So
and technically it still is illegal.
And it technically is still illegal. That's right.
It's wild. It's just crazy. Okay, so we are going to send this. We're going to email this directly to Joe Biden.
Excellent.
We'll figure out a way because he just all you got to do. Any federal representative, any United States senator who sees this, all you got to do is call her. I have seen the folders. I have looked at the sheet. She has it. All this information in her phone. Freedom Grow has all kinds of archives of. I mean, this guy's got tons of information about this. So, I mean,
yeah. I mean, and we really do make sure that every single person is hand vetted. We make sure that we stay up to date on what's going on with them, if they're being transferred. So we have their correct addresses, their correct court cases, anything that's going on with them. So if you guys have any questions, again, my number is 559-715-2839. You can call me. You can text me on that number, you know, and I will get you this information. It's important for us to do it. Like I said, you can follow Freedom Grow Forever on Instagram so you could see what's going on with the Edwin Rubis campaign and all of the other social justice and reformative justice actions that we're doing with Beard Bros. And it's not just the two of us. There's about 30 other nonprofits in the industry who have come together as a coalition. We started earlier this year with the 420 Day of Unity. It includes the Indigenous Cannabis Industry Association, Last Prisoner Project, Origins Council, Freedom Growth. I mean, again, there's over 30 of us, right? And we're going to keep doing this over and over. But we know that President Biden has, 3-4 months where he could really just take that pin out and do a whole bunch of good.
right.
And let's be honest, he needs to step it up. When even Trump is pardoning more people than you, you have got to step it up.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think he was probably concerned about the perception of him being weak on crime for the 2024. But you're right. He's got nothing to do. So we'll let Rachel close it out. First of all, let me thank you. You've been awesome.
And thank you so much for your service. Really, it takes a lot of heart, a lot of dedication to do what you're doing. And we thank you. Amazing job.
Well, thank you, Rachel, because I know you also volunteer in the space and you also give back as a CPA to help nonprofits in the space and keep them in their books current and do that. So thank you for all the work you do as well, because you're a warrior right alongside me.
Yeah, we all have to be, right? Otherwise, there's no industry for any one of us.
Exactly.
Right? So thank you so much. Really
Make sure you
appreciate it.
keep these ladies in business so they can keep doing the right thing.
Yep.
That's absolutely essential.
you.
Criminal justice reform, restoration, all these aspects of it should be right, as you said, right at the heart of the cannabis industry. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Meet Unshackled at Hollow Flowers. We'll be back. Hey, there's Luna.
Luna!
All right. Thank you.